Fortnite hates the building mechanic, or at least that's what it seems like. I mean, they are constantly doing everything in their power to put items into the game that decrease the skill gap and remove the advantage that good building would normally give a player. But through the research for this video that was initially going to be called Why Fortnite Hates the Building Mechanic, I actually found that to be the furthest thing from the truth. And all of these things that they put into the game, like Nitro Fist, boom boxes, and mechs that render building pretty much useless, actually do far more for the hardcore and competitive players than they do for the casual. And I know that sounds crazy, but to understand the full extent of it, we have to look at the three pillars of Fortnite's existence: the past, the present, and the future. Pillar number one, the past. 2017, Epic Games drops Fortnite Battle Royale, and it is immediately the biggest game in the entire world. The Battle Royale genre was already super popular, but what set Fortnite apart from these other games, amongst things like cartoonish graphics, crazy items, cool POIs, was of course the building mechanic. The building mechanic in Fortnite, even in its simplest form, completely changed everything about traditional Battle Royale gameplay. You didn't have to worry about getting caught in the open, because if you did, you could just build your own cover. You no longer had to rely solely on your environment. And the biggest thing that it had impact on was combat. If some little bitch was up in the top of a house, camping, shooting down at you, in any other game, that player would have a huge advantage. But in Fortnite, you can just build your own staircase up to that player and own his punk ass. And as time went on, players became literal architects and found more and more ways to use the building mechanic to gain an edge in different situations. This is where the building mechanic goes from the best thing about the game to a massive problem. So Epic Games is dead set on finding a way to level the playing field. So this is where we enter our first era of the anti-build movement from Epic Games: explosives. It starts off pretty casual with normal explosives like C4 and dynamite, and then eventually the explosives start getting shot out of a bow with the boom bow. Then eventually that gets upgraded to the explosives getting shot out of a heat-seeking grenade launcher with the proximity grenade launcher. All the way up until they just had giant robots that they were shooting them out of with the mechs. Also within this era, we've seen them take a couple unique approaches as well. Like the don't know how to build? Don't worry, we'll do the building for you, introducing the Porta-Fort and the Porta-Fortress. And also the don't want to build? Don't worry, we'll make sure nobody else can build either, introducing the Boombox. And my favorite of all time, the whoever smelted dealt it 3000. Some little bitch camped up in a box? No worries, just stink them out of there. And then we move on to chapter 2, which begins a new era of the anti-build movement from Epic Games. An era that I like to call the holy fucking shit, what the fuck is that era of Fortnite. And once again, it starts off pretty casual with a lot of the same explosives from the beginning of the first era, as well as the introduction of the fire mechanic with firefly jars and the flare gun. And then things quickly start to get out of hand with the introduction of things like Iron Man's unibeam, the railgun, the plasma cannon, the symbiote mythics. And then eventually Epic Games is just like, you know what, dude, fuck it, dude. Just put the robots back in the game. Now, at this point, building had actually gotten so advanced that there was no way a new player could hop into a game and have any chance of surviving or even knowing what the hell just happened to them. So this takes us to our next pillar of Fortnite's existence: the present. Chapter 3 begins, and early into Season 2, they released the Zero Build game mode. Now, from a business and a gameplay standpoint, this was pretty much the greatest thing that has ever happened to Fortnite. By this point, if you were a new player to the game, you had pretty much no hope of catching up to any of these veteran players, specifically because of the advantage that being a good builder gave them. So this game mode was your saving grace. Zero Build finally gave casuals a chance. And it makes sense. A lot of people don't have 6 hours a day that they can sink into perfecting their Fortnite mechanics, nor do they want to. And the simplest solution to this dilemma is just to play Zero Build. But if this game mode exists as a safe haven for people that have no building skills, then why do we still see the existence of anti-build items like overpowered cars and the War Machine mythics in Battle Royale today? This is where we reach our final pillar of Fortnite's existence: the future. See, Fortnite has 3 incredibly solid systems to ensure that everyone has an enjoyable time while playing their game. Number 1 is skill-based matchmaking. This ensures that you will only go up against people of a similar skill level as you, making sure that every single fight is just challenging enough to feel rewarding. Number 2 is AI. If they can't immediately find 99 other players of a similar skill level, they'll fill the remainder of the lobby with bots. And I know everyone thinks that they hate AI being in the game, but imagine if every single time you ever ran into an AI, it was instead a player that was far above your skill level. See, Epic Games knows that the AI doesn't create the best experience in Fortnite, but they also know it creates a way better experience than constantly being stomped on by sweats. And number 3 is zero build. If you don't want to learn how to build or even care to have it in the game at all, this is the place for you. So once again, if we have all of these measures, why the cars, why the Nitro Fist, why the War Machine Mythics? Well, to answer this question, I want to refer to a video that Cypher PK made about a year ago called This Is the End. In this video, he talked about how build mode will cease to exist within the next 5 years. And it makes sense. See, every day players leave this game. Some of them build players, some of them zero build players. And every day new players join the game. But 90% of these new players that are joining the game are zero build players and will forever be zero build players. So even if Fortnite's player base stays the same, over time, build mode's player base will continue to dwindle. So how does Epic Games save Battle Royale? Well, that's actually what they've been trying to do this whole time. All of these anti-build items that we've talked about in this video, like boom bows, mechs, and Nitro Fists, are actually the answer. See, when someone hops into a match of Fortnite, even with skill-based matchmaking, putting them up against someone of a similar skill level, that other player could be slightly better at building, slightly better at editing, or even just have slightly better ping, making all of their inputs just a bit more responsive. And as we've talked about before, the building mechanic in this game, even at its simplest form, can grant a massive advantage to a player. So in the entirety of a giant build fight, that player who's slightly better at building, slightly better at editing, with slightly better ping, is going to end up having a massive advantage. So how does the less skilled builder gain an edge in the fight? Well, he could punish his opponent for boxing up by using a stink bomb. He could punish his opponent for building up way too high by blowing up his supports with some explosives. Or if he's feeling real spicy, he could just ram into him with a nitro infused car and completely delete him from the lobby. And I know all of this sounds so stupid, and it's all the stuff that we all complain about all the time. And trust me, I am not excluded from this group. I hated the Nitro Fist with a burning passion. But if Epic Games removes items like these from Battle Royale completely and only makes it high skilled items that grants advantages to skilled builders and no items to punish them, then that leaves players like we mentioned before with only 2 options. A, commit hundreds and hundreds of hours to mastering the building and editing mechanic inside of Fortnite, and even possibly move to a new state to get better ping. Or B, just go play zero build instead. And I know this might sound ridiculous if you're a cracked build player, but most people don't want to spend hours and hours in front of a screen mastering their quadruple edits in Fortnite. Most people have, you know, like a life. They get they have friends and hygiene that they need to keep up with. And like I said before, this might sound like a huge fairy tale to you if your gameplay looks anything like this, but you're just gonna have to trust me on this one. Now, I love build mode. I think it makes fighting way more dynamic, way more rewarding, and I don't want to see it go away. So as much as I hate the cars, and I hate the Nitro Fists, and I hate the rocket shooting robots, if putting up with those things means I get to enjoy build mode for years to come, then that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. And a sacrifice that I think all of you should be willing to make is to take 5 seconds to use code Mechanical in the Fortnite item shop. Subscribe to the fucking channel, baby. I'll see you guys in the next one.